Hey guys, and welcome to another Blender tutorial. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make this low poly scene in Blender that's really stylized. So it's this cute little boat, very simple, and these tentacles coming out of the ocean, and it's just this kind of like mysterious scene. I just think it looks absolutely awesome, and it's super easy to do, very beginner friendly. I'm going to be going through all the processes. Now this blend file here that you can see here is going to be available on my Patreon. You can check that in the description below. It starts at $3. It's a great way to support the channel. It also gives you guys access to a lot of the models that I make and a lot of the assets. And it just helps both of us. So you guys can check that out. You can also share what you want on Instagram and follow me there. So let's get into this tutorial. I'm gonna show you what you can do. Okay, so I've got an empty scene opened up here in Blender. And the first object I'm going to add in is a circle. So we're going to go Shift A. That's going to open up this add menu. We're going to go to our mesh options and add in a circle. We're then going to hit 7 to go into our top orthographic view, tab into edit mode, or you can just come up here manually and go into edit mode. We're going to come and enable the proportional editing option here. We can leave the fall off type as smooth. We're going to select the vertex here to our left, and we're going to go G and then X. Now we're going to move this forward. Now if you don't know already, you can roll the middle mouse button. That's going to increase or decrease the fall off of the proportional editing tool. So we're going to drag this guy out to about here, creating the front part of our ship. So just like that. And then what we're going to do is disable the proportional editing. And we're going to hit B, and we're going to box select these vertices here, and we're going to go X and just delete vertices. Select this guy here, holding and shift select this vertex here. Go E to extrude and then X, and we're going to extrude these guys back to about here, just like that. And then we're going to hit F to fill in those two there with an edge. So now we're going to go A to select everything, and then we're going to go E and then Z and extrude it up like this, about that much. And then we're going to go Shift Alt, click on this bottom loop of vertices, and then we're going to go actually, let me have a think about it first. Okay, yeah, so we'll do that. So we're going to go E to extrude and then Z, and we're going to bring it down to about here, and then we're going to go S to scale this. And at the moment you're going to see we have this issue at the back, but all we're simply going to do is go G, and then we're going to go X, and we're going to move this back a little bit, and then we're only going to select these two back vertices. And then we're going to go G and then X, and we're going to move them back to about here. And once you've done that, like this, we're going to go again. We're going to go Shift Alt, click on this loop of vertices here. Then we're going to go E to extrude and S to scale. I'm going to scale this down like this. And then G, Z, bring it down a little bit. Grab these two back vertices and go G, X, and move them back to here. So just like that. And then we're going to come in here, go Control R. And we're going to roll in a loop cut. So you can see this yellow line appearing. Roll the middle mouse button twice. That's going to create 3 loops like this. Click them in. And then do the same thing this side. Control R, roll in 3. Click them in. And then we're simply just going to go to our edge select option. Select this edge here and this edge here. Hit F to fill them in. And then grab this edge and this edge. Hit F to fill that. Shift Alt, click on this loop of edges here, and then you can go Control F or Command F and go Grid Fill. It'll fill those two, and then we're just going to do the same thing here. Just select one edge here, another one, and go F, selecting this edge, holding and Shift, selecting this edge, and getting F, and then the same thing here. Hit F, just filling these in. And then we're going to come over here, go Control R to add in a loop cut on the last one. Then select this edge, holding and Shift select this edge, hit F to fill it in. And then the same thing here. So just filling in those faces like that. Then we're going to come here, click on this edge here, holding in Shift and Control or Command. We're going to click on this edge here, and that's going to fill all the edges in between. Then we're going to go G, Z, and just bring that down a little bit. Like that, and then just S to scale the whole thing. And then G, just move it back a little bit like that. So now we have the bottom part of our ship right there. And it's low poly, which is what we want, but we do have to maybe come in here, Control R, add in a loop over here, double click, and then just go S to scale it out. and then go G and then X and move it in like this, just so we have it flat at the back here. Okay, so maybe I might make it a bit smaller, then move it back, just to round that out a little bit like that. But we still want to keep things relatively low poly. We're then gonna select this loop at the top. So Shift Alt, click on this loop of edges here, and then we're gonna go E to extrude, S to scale, and then we're gonna go E, Z, and extrude it down a bit, and then we're just gonna go E to extrude, S to scale, and then just hit F to fill that in. So one big face. And then what we're gonna do is gonna give this some placeholder material. So click on the materials tab, go new. This is called this boat 1. And we're just gonna come over here and let's go to the viewport display. Let's just give it a viewport display color. So I'm just gonna give it something like this. And then with this face still here selected, I'm gonna go Control plus just to grow the selection. Click on the little plus here, go new and assign that. And let's just call this deck. And let's come here to the viewport display color and just give it a color so we can see it's different. Then we're gonna go Shift Alt, click on, so go to the face select, Shift Alt and then click here, and that's gonna loop select these faces in here. Click the plus, new, and then assign. And let's just call this inner. And once we've done that, we're gonna come to our modifiers tab. We're gonna give this guy a triangulate modifier. And then on top of that, we're gonna add a displace modifier. Go down here to your textures and then go new. Click on the type and let's make it clouds. And at the moment it's a total mess, so let's go back to a modifier and bring the strength of this displace way down. Just a little bit. So we just want that little tiny bit of displacement. And that's just gonna really make this look kind of stylized and low poly. And I really like the look of that. So it's gonna look a lot better once we obviously have the textures and lighting on it as well. And now I'm going to show you how we can make this railing at the front. So select the boat again. And a very simple technique is just to click on this vertex here. So go to your vertex select option, click on this vertex, holding in Shift and Control, click on this one on the opposite side. Okay, so no, maybe not. So select this one first, then Shift and Alt, click on this one at the front. So it's going to select everything in between, and then click on this one here. So we just want to select all of these vertices here in the front, and then we're going to go Shift D to duplicate them, right click to let go, then E to extrude and Z, and we're going to bring this up to here. Select this vertex here, double G and just slide it down. With a vertex on here selected, any one, you can just hit L. That's going to select all of this loose geometry, and then we're going to hit P and we're going to go separate by selection. Tab out of edit mode. Now with this new object, we're going to go to the materials tab, get rid of all of these by going on a minus, then click new. Let's call this railing. And let's go down to the viewport display and just give it a viewport display color for now. Go to the modifiers tab, and all we simply have to do on top of this is add a wireframe modifier. And let's actually get rid of that triangulate modifier on here. We don't need it, and let's just mess around with this thickness. And that's how we make the railing for this guy over here. So that was super simple and straightforward. In fact, I might make it a little bit not as thick. Okay, and let's make the little the rest of the ship here. So we're gonna go Shift A, add in a cube, S to scale the cube down, and then G, Y, or so GX, move it back here. Then tab into edit mode, and then we're gonna go G, Z, and just bring this guy up till it's sitting on here. Go to the face select here, select this face, and let's just bring it down a bit to here. And then we're gonna go E, Z to extrude it up. And then we're going to go S to scale it a little bit. Hit A to select everything, and then go S, X, and then S, Y, and scale it out in the Y a bit. Just like that. And now we're going to tab out of edit mode. And let's give this guy that boat 1 material. And then we're going to go Shift D to duplicate it. Right click to let go. And if that guy is still selected, go to the modifiers tab. And let's give this guy a wireframe modifier and bring up that thickness. Go to the materials tab, get rid of this, and let's just give it that inner material. So that we have there. Then select this box in the middle again, tab into edit mode, and then just Shift Alt, click over here on the end. That's going to loop select these faces in here, these windows, and we're going to hit the little plus, go new, and assign, and let's call this windows. And let's go down here to the viewport display color and just give it a viewport display. So now we can see we have the windows there. And at any time, we can select both of these. So you can select this one, holding and shift select this outer part, and then tab into edit mode. And because we're in Blender 2.8, it'll go into both of them at the same time. So if we go into wireframe and then go to our vertex select option, B to box select these two front ones, we can go G and then X and move them both forward at the same time. So we can, like, you know, do both of them, and that just makes things a lot easier for us. This is a nice little trick as well. So now we have this guy coming together. What we're also going to do is create the little life preserver thing on the side here. So we can go Shift A, add in a torus. Let's go to add torus settings here, and let's make this major segments 8. And let's decrease the minor segments as well, because we are working with low poly here. So we're going to decrease it to about 6 there. And in fact, I might just bring this down to 6 here as well. Okay, maybe 8. Let's at least leave this one at 8 and this minor segments at 6. Then we're going to grab this guy, just move it over to the side here, and let's give it a new material. Call it ring 1. And let's click on the little plus, go new, and let's call this ring 2. And with ring 2 selected, let's go down here to the viewport display and make it red. Tab into edit mode, go to your face select, Shift Alt, and then loop select every second loop like this. So Shift Alt, click here, 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 and here. Click on the ring 2 material and then assign in edit mode. So now we have a very low poly and simple life preserver thingy here. We're going to go RX90, hit enter. And then we're just going to a top view, moving it over here, going to your right orthographic view, moving it down here, and then S to scale it, and just put it up against here. And just find a spot that works on the ship. So bring mine out here, just like that. In fact, you could even duplicate it if you wanted to and make 2 of them. Totally up to you what you want to do. You can put one on the other side as well. So I'm just going to leave those 2 there for now. Actually, I might just get rid of that and just have 1. Make it a little bit bigger. So that's totally up to you guys, but that's how simple that process is. Also just going to select this guy here, grab this top face and then go E to extrude it, then grab this face here and then E to extrude it forward. Tab out of edit mode, and now we have that, but it needs its own color. So let's just select these 2 top faces, Control plus just to grow the selection, and also select this bottom face here, and let's just click on the little plus. And we're not going to create a new material, we're just going to give it that inner material and assign. Just like that. And you can also select this back face and go E to extrude it back like that. Just like that. And maybe let's just grab these top faces and just bring them down a little bit. Okay, that works. Let's just select these side faces here. E to extrude them out a bit, and then select these faces here. And then E to extrude them out a bit. Doesn't have to be exactly the same on both sides because we're working quite low poly here. But yeah, that's our little ship coming together. So let's add in some of the rest of the little details. So we're going to go A to select everything first of all, then G, Z, and just move it up and go to your front view. And we just want to have this guy sitting out on top of this red axis line like that. So it's just intersecting the floor a little bit. We're then going to go Shift A, add in a plane, and then S to scale it up nice and big. Control A, make sure to apply the scale, then tab into edit mode, right click with all of this geometry selected and subdivide. Open up the subdivision panel here, and let's give it an amount of 12 on the cuts. Actually, let's try 22 maybe. Okay, 35. So just until it's not too high poly, but also not too low poly. So just 35 for now should be okay. And let's give this guy a triangulate modifier. And on top of that, a displace. And let's go to our texture settings here, go new, and let's give that guy that texture and make the type cloud. So make sure it's clouds. And let's go to our materials tab, go new. And this is called this water. And let's go to the viewport display color and just give it a color so we can see it's on there. And just it's nice to have viewport display colors as well. And we're not giving anything smooth shading, by the way. And that's really important because we're going for that kind of low poly look in the first place. So now that we have our ocean in here, we're going to set up a little camera. So let's come over here. So we're going to go with a view like this, Shift A, add in the camera, and the camera should now be active. Hit 0 to go into camera view, then G, and then your middle mouse button, and just pull back with your mouse and it should zoom out. Go to your camera settings and let's make the focal length 95. Hit G to move your camera, and once again G and the middle mouse button just to zoom back like this. So we're getting a nice view like this. Go to your camera settings and let's give the Y resolution 1920. So it's both 1920 up the top and the bottom. Gives us a square aspect ratio. And I'm just going to adjust my camera for something like this. You can also double tap R and then move your camera and rotate your camera on the spot. So just going for something like this. And that's looking really good. So what we're also going to do now is add in these quick kraken arms, or these tentacles coming out that we're going to put around our boat. So go Shift A and then go to your curve options, add in a bezier curve. G, Z, bring this guy up. Then go to your curve settings and we're simply going to go to the geometry and then go down to the bevel, and let's just increase this bevel to about 0.2 meters. Tab into edit mode. Select this point here and then go Alt S and scale it down. Grab this bottom part and then go Alt S and scale it up. Tab out of edit mode. And then we're going to go R to rotate this guy up like this. Tab back into edit mode. Hit A to select all of these points, and then G, Z, and just bring it up so that origin point, the little orange dot there, is sitting at the bottom. Tab out of edit mode and then go G, Z, and bring this guy down. Scale it up a little bit, and then G, Y, move it back here. Then we can tab into edit mode, just select this point down here, and you can actually rotate that and move it around till you get something that you like. So I'm going to bring that in a little bit deeper there. Grab this guy at the top and then Alt S to scale it in a little bit more, and then just R to rotate it, and then G, bring it in like this. So just creating this tentacle. Tab out of edit mode once you're happy, and then come here back to the bevel settings. Let's bring this resolution all the way down to 1. And let's also, so to apply this, we're going to select this tentacle and then hit F3. We're going to type in convert. And we're going to go convert to, and we're going to go mesh from curve. And it's going to convert it to a mesh object. So now if we tab into edit mode, this is a mesh. So let's quickly give this guy a triangulate modifier. And then on top of that, a displace. And once again, go to your texture settings here, click new, and let's just make this type clouds. Go to your modifiers and then just decrease the strength of this a little bit. And on top of that, we're going to add a edge split modifier. Just like that. And also go to object and make sure this is shade flat. We don't want this to have smooth shading. And now we have this tentacle here. And we can also give it its own material. So go new, and let's just call this tentacle. And let's just make it green for now, something like that. And we're going to very simply do some modeling on here. So we're going to go to our face select, and then we're going to select this face over here, holding and shift select this one, and this one down here. And then we're going to go to our transform pivot, make it individual origins. Then we're going to go E to extrude. And then we're going to go S to scale. And then E to extrude one more time, and then S to scale. Go Control plus twice. So Control plus, that's going to grow the selection. Go to over here, go click on the little plus, go new, and then call this clause. And then go assign. So now we have that, and then we're going to go to our top orthographic view, Shift D to duplicate, move one over here, and then R to rotate it. And then Shift D, duplicate another one, bring it over here, and then rotate it in. So if we go into our camera view, we can see we have something like this, and you can scale them a little bit, bring them deeper or bring them more out, it's totally up to you. And just like pose them around and get something that works for you. I'm gonna go with something like this. And we can see we still have that nice low poly look. So here we pretty much have our scene completed, and we have that nice low poly look with the triangulation. And next we're going to be adding in our materials, our textures, and our lighting, and really making this just pop. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our render settings, and then we're going to make sure the render engine is set to EV. Enable ambient occlusion and screen space reflections down here. You also want to come down, just drop it down by clicking here and enable refraction as well, since we're going to be working with refractive materials. And then we're simply going to go Shift A. We're going to go to our light options, add in an area light as our first light. Go G, Z, bring it up. Go to your light settings and just increase the power. In fact, let's just type in 200. Let's make the color here slightly pinkish and then increase the size. So to about 4 meters should be okay. And then we're going to go R to rotate it like this, and then G, move it over here. Go to your top view and then go Shift D to duplicate it, bring another one here, and then R to rotate it. So we're creating this nice pink lighting from this direction. Then we're going to go Shift D, bring another one here, and then R to rotate it in. So like this, and this one we're going to make a little bit more orange, and we're going to increase the power of that one, and then increase the size a little bit. So I got about 320 and a size of 7 meters. Hit 0 to go into camera view, then go Z, and then go into rendered view. So that is our lighting at the moment. And you can mess around in the render viewport until you get something that you like. And I'm going to grab these two here, make them a little bit more pink. Go into your camera view and just have a look at that. So we have this nice, really stylized kind of warm look, almost like there's a bit of a sunset going on. And we can also grab this light here, the orange one, Shift D to duplicate it, move it back here. And if we go into camera view, we're going to get this nice orange lighting here. So moving that up a little bit more till we get the desired effect. So just 2 pink lights at about 200, and then 2 bigger lights that are about 320, and they're a little bit more orange. So nothing too complicated with lighting, very beginner friendly. Then we're going to go to our world settings here, and now we're going to come here and it's going to really make it look cool. If we make this color here blue, you can already see we're getting this really awesome color effect. And we're just going to also take the value slider here and drag it up. Now this is a little bit of personal preference. Maybe if you're going for a bit more of an eerie scene, you can leave this value a bit more dark. I'm going to go with a little bit more brighter, so I'm going to maybe take it to about the mid level here for now anyway. And then we're going to select the ocean here as our first object to add a material to. Go to our shading workspace. Make sure to go into camera view, hit Z, and make sure you're in rendered. So now in our shading workspace, nice and simple. We have our ocean selected, and remember before we created all the placeholder materials. So in this case it's the water, and by default we have the principled node. So let's come here, click on the base color and make it blue. So we're going to go with a blue roughly around here on our color wheel, and then bring this value slider down a bit. Go to the roughness amount here and just bring it down, but not all the way. So just something like 0.1 or 0.15 should be okay. And it's up to you to mess around with this slider as much as you want till you get the desired watercolor. There's a lot of different options, so just mess around with it, but I'm going to go with a blue right about here, sort of like a robin's egg blue kind of blue shade. Then we're going to select the tentacles here, and we're going to go click on the tentacle material, and obviously I think a nice green works for this, like kind of like a bit of a lime green, like that. And obviously bring down the roughness a little bit, make it a bit more reflective. Then we're going to select the claws here, and we're going to leave them white, but we're going to make them a little bit of an off-white. So bring this a little bit into the yellow here, and that should be okay as far as the tentacles go. Then we're going to select the railing on the boat here, and let's just give that kind of like a darker material, not all the way black, but just down to here. And then we're going to select the life preserver thing here, click on the ring 2 material, and simply make it red. And that's pretty straightforward with that one. And I'm going to actually bring this guy out just a little bit more, so it's not intersecting with the boat. And what we can also do is just select this cabin thing here, tab into edit mode, and just select all of these faces in the top, because I was thinking about this and I think I'd like it better if I brought this down a little bit, just so it's not as thick. And then I'm going to select this front part, and I'm going to go G and then X, and I'm going to move it forward a bit. And I'm going to grab this guy at the back, and I'm going to go G, X, and just move it back a bit. And I think that looks a lot better, but that's totally up to you guys. You can leave it like I did originally if you wanted a bit more stylized. But what we're going to do is, with this cabin selected, remember the first materials we created. So let's click on the window, and with this window material selected, we're going to go down to the settings, enable screen space reflections, and then make this alpha hashed, and this guy over here alpha hashed as well. Then we're going to come over here to the principal shader and bring down this roughness to 0.2, and we're going to bring this transmission all the way up. And now we have this frosted glass material, and now we can work on this inner material here. So this inner material is going to be kind of like an off-white as well. So bring this white in here a little bit. And now we can work on the boat. So select the boat itself. And remember, we created the boat 1 material. Now before we go any further, let's simply just go to our edit mode, preferences, go click on the add-ons, and just type in Node Wrangler. And make sure you enable the Node Wrangler add-on. And once you've done that, if you select this principal shader and you go Control T or Command T, it'll add in these free nodes automatically. And you can go look online for a seamless rust texture, or just a rust texture that's not even seamless. It doesn't matter. You can go to somewhere like texturehaven.com. So I've already got one that I'm going to be using, and I will be making these available on the Patreon with the blend file. So not too difficult. Go get one that you like, and I've already got some here. So it's just a simple rust texture. It could be anything. Just go look on the internet. Just type in free rust texture. You'll find them. And once we've done that, we're simply going to come here and make this where it says flat here on this texture node. We're going to make it box. And we're going to take the generated node here and plug it into the vector. And here we can see we have this rust material, and it's looking pretty cool. Just off the bat, no UV unwrapping required. And it also really depends on the texture, but this should be fine. So just about any rust texture should work for this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to select the deck material that we created earlier. And we're going to do the same thing. So click on this node, Control T or Command T to add in these 3 extra nodes. Let's make it, let's just take the generated and plug it into the vector here. We'll leave it on flat and just get a wood texture. So once again, you can go on the internet, just get a simple wood texture. I've got these wooden decking panels that are a texture, and I'm going to be grabbing that one. And you can see there it is. So just about any wood texture will work for this. Go ahead, tons of free ones online, very easy to find. And there we have that. So I'm going to do one more thing. It's just select this canopy here, tab into edit mode, and go to face select. Select this big middle face here and go Control plus once. It's just going to select all of those top faces, and then I'm going to hit plus, and I'm going to go new. I'm just going to call this panel. You guys don't have to do this part, but I would recommend it. And then just go assign. So we got this new shader here, and we're just going to get the principal shader, go Control T or Command T to add in these nodes. And I would recommend adding like a rusty panel kind of texture, or just another kind of rust texture should be fine. So I've already got one here. I'm going to go open image, and I'm going to make this one flat projection as well, but I'm going to take the generated and plug it into the vector here. And there we can see we have that nice texture on there. So go have a look online. There's tons of free rust textures out there. But that is about it. So it's not very complicated with the materials here at all. Very simple, very stylized, very, very simple node setups, and very simple lighting. So it's at this point where we can grab our lights and we can rotate them around, move them around a bit till we get something that we like. Mess around with the strength of the lights. You can also go to your world setting and mess around with this lighting over here, try different kind of colors. If you wanted more of a sunset, you can make it kind of more like an orangey kind of color. You know, you can make it kind of red to make it scary. But yeah, totally up to you guys. Make it kind of your own scene. So yeah, that is the boat here, but I'm going to show you one more thing. If we select our camera and we go to our camera settings, you can click on the depth of field, drop this down, click on the eyedropper, and then select that boat. And then we can come here to the f-stop and bring that amount down. And that's going to give it that nice soft focus in the background, which I really like for this sort of thing. And I might also just grab this light here, go Shift D to duplicate it, and create another one coming from this direction. And maybe make it a little bit of a different kind of color, a bit more pinkish. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So let's quickly give that a test render. So let's go to render, render image, and see what that looks like. And here we have it, guys. We have a nice stylized low poly boat with the tentacles coming out of the water. And it's really cool. So if you guys made this and it's your first thing, or you've never done low poly before, make sure to share it on Instagram. Show people what you've made. I really just like this. It's super low poly, but also really stylized, and it just looks really cool. It's just something that'd be really fun to post on Instagram. You could even put like a little island in the background, or a little sailor with a harpoon or something. There's a lot of different things you can do. So that has been this tutorial on a low poly boat. And I hope you guys make something of it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments below. I might see it and be able to answer. And check me out on Instagram as well. And if you want to support the channel and get access to this blend file right here and many others, make sure to go check me out on Patreon. You can support the channel there. I'll see you guys next time, and stay safe.